Ladies and gentlemen, James Bay.
Yes.
So this new song is really, really good.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We
I'm
felt
obsessed.
this is how would you describe the song? You were talking about this earlier, Kev.
I mean, it honestly, to me,
Yeah.
it feels, and I know you only have 2 albums, so it's hard to say this, but it feels like your first album a little bit. I don't know.
No, that's
Second
cool.
album was great.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
Great. But yeah, it felt like a throwback, which is a weird thing to say because you only have 2.
Well, that's the thing. But I think, I don't know, as an artist, you are sort of walking a line. I feel like I'm walking a line or sort of have my foot in 2 different kind of places. One is doing the things that are more comfortable to me and maybe my fans are drawn to more immediately. And
Right.
the other foot is in this kind of evolving, kind of moving forward,
Yeah.
pushing forward sort of place.
Electric Light was, you experimented with a lot.
It's like the idea that we're all a work in progress, and you know, you some days you're kind of happy just as you are and kind of as you were yesterday, and some days you're thinking more about, well, what's tomorrow and what can I do with it? Do you know what I mean? That's
Well,
a
I know
little
what you
bit
mean, but is there a
metaphorical.
long-term plan musically where you want to go, or does it evolve year to year?
That's a
album to
good
album?
question. That's such a very good question. I don't think when any artist, well, I'm talking about myself, but I think it relates to a lot of other artists as well. When you think about the long-term plan,
Yeah.
you kind of can't predict what your like creative instincts and your creative muscle is going to sort of do or want to do like tomorrow or in the next moment. But you can know, and I know,
Yeah.
that I want to do this forever. You know,
Right.
and that sounds sweeping, but it's very true. So I'm constantly going kind of back to the point a minute ago. I'm constantly like thinking about what I recognize that I do well and what everybody likes.
Right.
But I can't settle for that. I don't think it's right to just settle for that one thing. I think you have to keep kind of messing with it a little bit and challenging it.
Would you be interested in sort of not putting out albums? Like we had John Mayer over at the theater recently. You played the theater a year ago.
yeah.
And he said he's done with albums because it, you know, by the time you get to the end of it, you're a different person than you were when you started it
That's
a year
interesting.
earlier.
And everything else in music is moving much quicker anyway.
Yeah.
He's making an interesting point because that I think that's always been the case with making albums. You are a different person at the end of it than when you started, and that's been the case for me with both the albums I've made. But the situation now is that everybody else out there has moved on sort of very, very fast into a different place, and at this point in time, we have to. It's not just giving out kind of teasers while you're making that album.
Right.
Now we have to put songs out,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of them quite quickly while we're supposedly making an album.
Yeah.
And everything and everybody has moved on so much by the time you put that album out.
Yeah.
So my thing is I love albums.
Yeah.
I do love them, but
Do you like the flow of the album? Do you like putting that together where
Yes.
people listen from track 1 down to track 10?
I do love that, but I can't deny
That's so old school.
it's old school, but and so I can't deny John Mayer's point that everything moves so fast now, and we change it. The artist has to sort of develop so much from the beginning of making an album to the
Yeah.
end.
Right.
So I don't know. I will always love albums. I think that's my point. I'll put that one aside. I love
Yeah.
albums, fine. But in terms of 2019 and 2020 and beyond,
Right.
yeah, I'm going to have to do it. We're all having to do it a bit differently, and that's okay.
A couple of points I just thought of here, and I feel bad to even bring this up to you, but I'm thinking of all different artists I've done this to. You get an album in front of you, and you're streaming it or something, you're checking it out, and you're hearing it for the first time. You hit play, and we're such an ADD society. I hit play, and I go, oh, he didn't get me in the first 10 seconds. Let me hit next and hear the next one. That's so bad.
That's a shame.
It is, and I'm sorry. And I'm not
No.
gonna,
I mean, I really.
But you know, right? We're
right,
such a society
and
like
I try. Here's what I do. I try everything in my power to sort of not do it. And if it doesn't get me in that first 10 seconds, I hold my hand up. I'm curious enough to go another 10 or maybe another.
Right.
I'm curious to go to at least sort of halfway through the track because I want to give it a chance. I want to know.
Sure.
But I think we have done it always in music. There was just a time in the past where we had to sit through the whole song. And I think there's something that's sort of right about that. Sometimes I didn't like a song first listen, and
They can grow on you.
Oh, totally.
they just grow on me. So sometimes it's not that I don't like a song first listen. Sometimes I just sort of think, well, I understand it and it's not for me. What else is out
Sure.
there?
Or sometimes if you're not going through a particular time in
Yeah.
your life that you can't relate to it.
I think
I do like your hair.
that's great.
No, did you adjust it?
It's great hair.
Did you do something different from earlier today in the show?
Not at all. I don't have headphones on at the moment. If that's
very
maybe
nice.
saying the full thing.
You were right. It's very nice.
Thanks,
There we go.
guys.
Yeah.
I think "Call Me Maybe" by Carly Rae Jepsen is a brilliant song. First time I heard it, I thought it was a good song,
Yeah.
and I kept moving. I kept listening to other songs. I
Sure.
didn't stick with it. And then there was a time where it kind of came back to me, and I heard it somewhere, and I went, "This is a brilliant song," and I probably played it like 5 times in a row to just
Really?
enjoy it. But that
just
that
feel
might
it,
have
yeah.
been like 6 weeks later.
Right. And that song had no great meaning about life. It was a pop,
It's a great
catchy
pop
little
song.
song.
Yeah.
But
Great pop song.
sometimes
It had a
the-
relatability as well, though.
Yeah, and the harmonies come together, melody
Yeah.
comes together, and the notes are just right. And
Yeah.
if music gives you some kind of emotional reaction,
Yeah.
I think that's everything you're looking for.
And that's absolutely right. But you're making another point though about the first 10 seconds of songs. We have more of an option than ever before.
We do,
to,
you're right.
To take 10 seconds and then leave it forever, like and move on.
Totally. We also have the option now to just buy individual songs.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Before
Which
you had to buy the album.
Yeah.
which is I don't know. It's still kind of to the masses. It's still very new. That to lots of us it isn't new, and we're living with
Yeah.
it and we're getting on with it. But to the masses, it's very new, and I don't know. We don't all quite know what it means yet.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, no. I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't want to be rude,
No,
but
it's
we're going to try something special here. James Bay is going to speak for 10 seconds about whatever he wants.
Wow.
And in that 10 seconds, he's going to garner your attention so much, you
No
will
pressure.
not go anywhere.
No
And this
pressure.
10 seconds can be whatever you decide.
There was a time, a long time ago, many bad things were happening. Many people were disagreeing with each other. Everybody was on
There's
edge.
10 seconds right there.
I was hooked.
I was just trying to,
Well, I
set
do want to know
something
what
up.
happens. What happens?
Well, there you
But
go.
you were
exactly.
clearly
this was a-
making it up as you
Thank
go.
you. There you go.
I think you had a stream of consciousness going here.
What I really wanted to do was do
Yes.
the first 10 seconds of the Star Wars, like the monologue. thing,
Oh,
whatever it is.
okay. And
But
again,
I didn't get it.
far
I didn't
away.
get it. I didn't get it. I was nowhere near it.
You came up with
was
a
under
long time ago.
There was a time.
There was bad things happening.
You were hooked. You were
Yes.
hooked. I felt you
We
were
wanna
hooked. There you
know
go.
more.
There
So I
you
wanted
go.
to see where you were going with that.
There you go.
Congrats on 4 years since casting the
Yeah,
call.
man, thank you.
I remember being out on the balcony with you, and then when
Yeah.
I think you were just nominated for a Grammy or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you were telling me about the meaning of Hold Back the River and
Right.
spending time with your friends
Right.
before like your life gets nuts.
Mhm.
My wife was pregnant at that time, and
Right.
now we have this daughter. She's almost 3 years old.
Beautiful.
And I recently listened to that song again, and it hit me in a different way than it ever
Oh.
did before because not only was it sort of nostalgic to that time in my life when she was pregnant and stuff, but I never thought about it that it was my wife and I before we had these two. Now we have 2 kids, but like before our lives get crazy. You know what I mean? Hold back the river.
Yeah.
Let's just you and I just.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that at the time, but
Oh,
now
wow.
that we've had 2
That's-
kids and life has been crazy, it means so much more to me now.
Oh man, that's actually, and I would never have thought about it being relatable in that way as
Yeah.
somebody without kids at this point. That's very cool.
Does music
Yeah.
have an evolution for people, you think? Like, here he
turns
is
out it
hearing it.
does.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah.
in one way, and all of a sudden he's hearing it a totally different way now.
Because I
That's-
loved the song for what it was,
Yeah.
and at the time it was, but now it just means the world to me.
Here's the thing that's interesting, and I guess that music does evolve, over longer periods of time with people. And when we were talking about, because if you skip a track after 10 seconds,
Right,
you're not giving
right.
it a chance to
No.
evolve over 4 years or whatever with you, 5 years, whatever. But and that makes me think about radio. You can change the channel, but if you're dedicated to listening to the station,
Right.
you can't skip to sort of 10 seconds into the future
Right.
a lot of the time, and I think that's kind of great. So
Right. That's the world we live in. That, like you had said earlier, there's so many choices in front of us with your music, with what we talk about on the air, with your 10-second story. We're all fighting for each other's attention. And to me, when you get somebody's attention, when you make a connection with a human being, and they look at you and they listen to you,
we're having that moment.
that's meaningful.
It means something.
It does.
Making me super uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Not this again.
we have a thing.
We do. We
All
have
right.
a little bit of a thing,
We
man.
have a
What's
thing.
going
We've always
on
had a
here?
thing. Actually, as well, and this is a bigger thing in America than it is in the UK.
Yeah.
Listening to the radio in the car, you guys have got a lot more distance to drive
Sure.
Yeah.
than we have. So, and that's another place where you got to focus on driving. You can't be changing the channel. You can't be changing the radio station.
Right.
And you see it in movies, you see it all the time. If someone's listening to the radio, they feel a certain way. Say they're like angry about a relationship and a sad song comes on.
Oh, always.
And you kind of like, I don't need this sad song right now. Like, and you might want to change it, but
Right.
but if you give the whole song, like if you give the song this sort of chance to play to the end, you'll go from being furious about somebody and
It's
something
cathartic.
to like, oh, maybe you see it from there. The things that music
Yeah.
can do if you give
Yeah.
it more than 10 seconds.
Speaking of songs that do stuff, you're going to be opening up for Ed Sheeran on his European tour?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's very
Congrats.
exciting. He's going to be using his songs to do stuff to tens of thousands of people every night in stadiums, which is a very exciting thing to be a part of. We're going to open up for him, yeah. And I've never played. I played one stadium. Sounds like a real kind of clanger, as we call it in the UK.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up the synonym for that.
The one
American.
stadium I played, we were opening for the Rolling Stones. It was very cool.
That's awesome.
Now you understand what a clanger is. It's like I've sort of dropped
look
like
at
a
you,
big,
buddy.
Yeah.
too much.
Brag.
Like a name drop thing.
Apologies. Yeah.
So
Name
are
drop.
you the clanger, or
Exactly.
is the story the clanger?
The story and me?
Okay.
The story, because you're saying it, he's a clanger because he said the Stones,
Gotcha.
I guess.
I've dropped-
You're the
yeah,
clanger.
it's something like that. Yeah. But anyway, that's the only
clanger.
stadium I've known, and that was a lot of fun, and that was tens of thousands of people.
Right.
And now we're going to do it for, well, we're going from May till August, so we're going to get kind of used to it, which is quite.
Did you
exciting.
tell Ed this story? Did you clanger
He knows.
him?
He might know about it. I don't know.
You guys friends?
Actually, yeah. We've. When was it? 2015. I was telling somebody recently about. They said, "How did you meet Ed Sheeran?" I said, "We met one of the only places artists can meet. We met on a red carpet."
Mm.
And
Makes
and
sense.
you
Oh,
really
that's interesting.
you really struggle often to sort of meet anywhere
Right.
else. And in that same year, so we met then and we stayed in touch and both very busy. It was 2015, and he came. He really wanted to come and see one of my shows on my. It was like my first sort of bigger headline tour. I said, well, man, if you can make it to a show, it'd be awesome if you want to jump up and do a song. And we kept looking at the dates. He was in America the whole time, and I was in the UK doing this tour. And he really wanted to come. I had 3 big nights in London, and he couldn't make it. And there was a show in Cambridge, and he was coming home from New York. He said it might be kind of tight. I'm coming back from New York, and I'll probably be pretty jet lagged, but I might try and make the show. I said, don't worry about it, man.
Right,
You'll be
right.
so jet lagged. It's no big deal. I totally understand. He said, no, it might be possible. And then I got a text from him as we were getting into the venue at like 10, 11 a.m. He said, I've just landed. I'm on my way.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I said, take it easy, man. Like, you don't, like, I don't,
He's racing over. He's got
I
a
don't
cop
expect-
car leading him all the way.
Almost.
Yeah.
And he came straight from the airport.
Yeah.
And he was there from about midday, hours before sound check.
Sure,
and
yeah.
He came on stage with us. So he did a bit of sound check with us, which is very cool. And he just hung out all afternoon.
Yeah.
And then he went on stage at about, he came on at about sort of 9:30 or something. So
Yeah.
he just stayed with us all day. And we've been, I suppose,
You've been
friends
mates
ever
ever
since.
since, yeah.
Did he
and
do
stayed in
one of
touch.
his own songs or a song
He
with
did Let
you?
It Go. He
He
got
did?
up and
Oh,
Let It Go
awesome.
with me, which was very cool.
Wild.
He did a verse and sung the choruses and stuff with me, which was really cool. I remember I was quite kind of blasé and kind of chill about saying, ladies and gentlemen, Ed Sheeran. I didn't project Ed Sheeran. I didn't say it like
Yeah,
that.
you didn't want to feel like a clang.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Good.
You nailed it. But so people weren't quite sure in those few like 2.5 seconds. People weren't really sure what I'd said or
Right.
if
They're
I'd
like, there's
said
a
that.
redhead coming out. Who's
Right,
he?
and then they see him, and the crush
Okay.
at the front of the crowd was
Yes.
quite intense.
Oof.
I saw a few people who sort of didn't expect everybody behind them to sort of push
Right.
so hard. So,
Did you get mad about that?
No, it was
A little bit.
It was all
they
right.
were there to see you, and then they
people were
rushed when
okay.
Ed got there.
No,
I'd be
no.
kind of like mad.
Love it. No,
Okay,
I was
fair
in my mind. It all went sort of to plan. you know.
Right.
I was hoping that if I announced Ed Sheeran, people would get excited.
And
they did.
come closer.
Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
he asked you to maybe join him on stage?
Not yet. There's me having hope.
Yeah, sure, of course.
No,
As
no.
anyone would, I think.
No. He's. I think he's got it down.
Yeah, but
he's
still,
he's
people
been
would
doing.
love that.
Yeah.
He's one man and a guitar. Been doing a stadium.
Isn't that
tour
just
for
nuts how
incredible
it's
years
just
at this
him?
Yeah.
point.
Like when you see him, you try and not to take over your interview talking about Ed Sheeran,
Let's do it.
but when you see
Love it.
him do it, you're honestly your mind's going, how is he doing all of this stuff?
Yeah,
The talent level, you know.
the talent level, and I think here's an interesting thing that almost ties us back to what we started talking about. He's more or less, and he's artistically he has made some interesting kind of direction choices, which I think are,
Right.
are good. Sort of tried different sounds, different directions, but overall he's kept at the same thing: the one man, the acoustic guitar, and the kind of the loop pedal situation. And so he's obviously extremely sort of well practiced and able to do it in a stadium to 70,000
Right.
people every night. So fair play to him. It's worked and it's still working. And in all of that, it's amazing to be. It's kind of one of the most famous like spectacles
Sure.
on the planet right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, it
he
is.
might be
yeah.
one of the most famous dudes in the world, and that's all amazing. But what he's doing, it's the act and the art and the
It's everything.
the craft is
it's true.
to see this guy hold a space full of 70,000, 80,000 people.
Yeah.
So look,
And then
to
he
be-
can like work the crowd in between songs.
All right,
stuff.
you know,
I mean,
enough of this guy. He's not here, okay? He's not here. James Bay is here. I don't know, and you've always been so kind of private about this, about your personal relationships and stuff like that. But you had mentioned that you want to have kids down the road eventually and
Sure.
have that kind of family life and stuff. what I'm so jealous about watching you, and I'm sure we've all kind of picked up on that, the talent level, number one. You're fantastic, and you're a
Thanks,
joy
man.
to watch you with your craft.
Thank you, man.
But what a joy. I'm so jealous as a dad to go into a kid's room and play them a lullaby.
Huh.
You're going to be able to do
Wait,
that.
you don't do it? You can play some guitar.
I can play a little guitar, but not like you.
And when you say lullaby, I think I'm gonna be probably swapping out all the sort of traditional lullabies with like classic like Carole King songs. And
You
stuff
think
like
so?
that. I think.
What would you sing if you could pick one right now to sing to a kid who's going to sleep? What would it be?
Ooh.
Grab the guitar and surprise us. I don't want to put you too much
That's
in the
tough.
spot. But anything you could sing, any
Because I've
cover
said
you'd
Carole-
sing to a kid.
Well, I've said Carole King.
You don't have to stick with Carole King if you don't want to.
I don't know.
Daddy.
Tonight you're mine completely. You give your love so sweetly. Oh, tonight the light of love is in your eyes. But will you still love me tomorrow? See,
Oh
That's good.
my God.
That's really good.
but
But what? I want that. I want to be able to do that.
is there not, if you're singing that to your kid, will you still love me tomorrow?
That's creepy.
It doesn't matter.
I hope the kid's already asleep, or else it's like there's some like blackmail in it.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
yeah.
you better.
Yeah.
Daddy, I want a drink of water. Can I get up and get a bit of water? That's
Well,
all I want. And you keep singing.
Only if you still love me tomorrow.
Okay, fine. I'll love you tomorrow, Daddy. I will.
Imagine.
And apparently your kid's going to have an English accent. That's
I
demanded.
hope so.
You know?
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah.
What would you do if your kid didn't? What if you have a girlfriend, but I don't want to
Yes.
get into that.
No, that's cool.
But what if your kid, if you raise them over here and they end up having an American accent, you'd be freaked out?
A little bit, but like I'd let them kind of. You can't. I mean, if they were going to like American school every day,
So what if
I
like
think
this is
living
your
at home though, they'd get yours. I would think.
I don't know. A little bit. I know.
You
I have
pick
a
up
friend,
everybody else's.
Yeah.
I have a
thing.
British friend out here who his I think, but his second kid was born out here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's they're just really good at doing English accents, but sort of spend their lives because their parents are English.
Right, so they can do both?
They do
Yeah.
both.
Kid walks in, dude, what's up? You gigging tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what your kid's gonna do.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, thank you.
No worries.
That was
You're the
awesome
best,
as always.
man.
I mean, you're such a pleasure to have in here. Thank you very much.
It's good.
Seriously.
It's always great to be here.
And then to have somebody actually sit here and sing in front of us, to see your craft and see the artistic world that you live in, it's
And
awesome.
I'll be honest with you as well. When you do a brand new song like that, I mean, I've played it with the band on this tour, but like that's
Yeah.
maybe the second time that I've done it like
In
live,
public, like live in front of people, right?
And like this is an intimate sort of setting, and
Right.
you know, I've been lucky enough twice, I think, in the last couple of weeks to hear it on the radio, and then doing it like in this setting, you just. Lots of artists will tell you, you're just kind of like critiquing the entire way, which is a difficult sort of headspace to be in when you're performing it to people.
Right.
So there's that. But
Is it kind of like a speech where we made it back in like high school or something? Like you can see the ending of it coming, so you're getting excited that you're close to the end and you haven't messed up?
yeah,
Dude, that's a lot of pressure.
it's intense.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that part.
Well, I hope it was all right.
It was great.
It was
was so
great.
good.
We loved it. And the lullaby too, that's awesome. Thank you, man.
Yeah, that's a plug for Carole King too. She needs it.
James Bay.
Thank you.
7 texts, 2 a.m. Halfway dressed and they're all saying, call me up. You can't sleep, you're testing me. Bad but sweet and I'm just trying to keep it together. Oh, and now you're saying, put your hands on my body just like you think you know me. Want your heartbeat and know me, don't leave me hot and lonely. I don't usually give in to peer pressure. I'll give in to yours. When we met, innocent, now I'm dead every time you're touching me. You're dancing around on my mind every second, under control till you're in front of me. Maybe I'm scared, I don't care, I'm addicted, I'm in it. Then you say, put your hands on my body just like you think you know me. Want your heartbeat and know me, don't leave me hot and lonely. I don't usually give in to peer pressure, but I'll give in to yours. So I give you my everything and you keep on teasing me with that look in your eyes, cause you know I believe it. I don't usually give in to peer pressure, but I'll give in to yours. Ooh, ooh, yeah, I'll give in to yours. Ooh, ooh. When we met, innocent, now I'm dead. And you're saying, put your hands on my body just like you think you know me. Want your heartbeat and know me, don't leave me hot and lonely. I don't usually give in to peer pressure, but I'll give in to yours. So I give you my everything and you keep on teasing me with that look in your eyes. You know I believe it. I don't usually give in to peer pressure. Oh, but I'll give in to yours. Ooh, ooh, yeah, I'll give in to yours. I will, yes. Oh. You're dancing around on my mind every second, under control till you're in front of me. Maybe I'm scared, I don't care, I'm addicted, I'm in it. That's how it ends.
Wow, James Bay. Get back in the mic over here.
I played it.
That was fantastic.
I played it a couple of times live like that, just solo acoustic, and like. There's like the only way to sort of end it
Sure.
is like extremely sort of cheesy.
Right. Okay, so grabbing the guitar again.
You have to go. Maybe I'm scared, I don't care, I'm addicted, I'm in it.